and welcome to a new episode of Knit in the City. I am Rebecca, the city is Malmö, and today I'm back with Everything I Knit in 2023 episode. I wasn't going to do this, but then I was thinking that you all haven't seen most of the things that I have been knitting last year, so it made sense to do it. I am feeling a bit self-conscious now because I put my hair up and I never do that. I feel like I'm bald or something, but I had a really bad hair day, so the weather here has been crazy. We've had such a cold spell. It's been like -6 or 7 every day for the last week, and one day we were even down to -10. But the whole country has been insane. Like up north, it's been -40, and that, I mean, I can't even imagine what that feels like. But it's getting better now. It's a +2 today, so normal weather is back. There is no sun, so I'm using artificial light, and I can see that it throws a shadow behind me, but I hope it's not going to be too disturbing for you. I was thinking to start with the most recent FOs, so I will be starting with the December ones and work my way back through to January. And if you watched my, not in the latest episode, but the episode number 5, then you would already have seen all the things that I've knit in December. So then you can skip to this time if you want to start watching from November on. But yeah, and I also wanted to say that sometimes I don't remember the designer or the name of the yarn, but I will always put the name of the pattern and the designer in the frame, and all the yarns will be listed in the show notes in the box below. So everything will be there. What else was there? Yeah, there are a few projects that I don't have here. Most of them I have pictures of, and then I will put the pictures. I think there are like 2 or 3 that I don't even have a picture of, but then I will put a picture of the designer's sample of the garment so that you will know what it looks like. And I can talk about colors and things like that. Okay, let's dive in. My December projects. December was a frantic month because I knit a lot of Christmas gifts, most of which were fairly tiny. But the last thing I knit this year was the Colette beret. And I knit this to match my Haven shawl. This pattern I don't remember the designer of, but you will see it. I haven't blocked it yet, so it doesn't have the nice beret shape. I'm not going to put it on my head because then my hair will be standing straight. But this was a really quick knit. I made this in 2 days. I think I was so happy. I was finally done with Christmas gifts, so I just raced through this. This is knit in Clara by Permin, which is a half wool, half cotton yarn. It feels quite cottony. I have worn this some, but then when it got super cold, it wasn't warm enough. So I think it will get a lot more wear when things start to heat up a little bit. So this was, I mean, I think this is going to be perfect for spring. And now let's get into all the Christmas gifts. The first one, and I don't think I've shown this before. This was just a picture. This is a Sophie scarf, which is quite small actually. It's not as small as the smallest one. But this I knit for my oldest daughter, but it's not as big as I like to make them. It does go around like this. Oh, this is really warm. I had the balcony door open for like 10 minutes before I started when I was getting ready, just to be able to breathe in here because it's really hot. They've cranked up the heat so much. Well, never mind. This is knit in Sandnes alpaca, and I think I used 1.5 50-gram ball for this, so it doesn't take much yarn at all. The recipient has not been wearing it yet, but she has like a really thick winter coat, So I guess it's not really needed. And she hasn't been spending large chunks of time outside now anyway, because it's been so cold. The next one is a scrunchie that I made for her sister. And this is a luxury mohair scrunchie. And it doesn't have any mohair. This is just sock yarn. I think one of them is Arwetta, Filcolana Arwetta, and the other one is Drops Fable. Because I didn't have enough of the light grey to finish it off. I mean, this is a super quick knit. And then you just crochet the two pieces together. And this is also a Sophie scarf. This is a little bit bigger. And this is for my youngest daughter. This is knit in Drops Fable and Drops Kid Silk. So I held a fingering weight with the lace mohair. And this is, I mean, no, I've heard people say that the Drops Kid Silk is really scratchy. I have used it before and I didn't find it. I thought it was quite soft. I made a pink fizz, the Andrea Mauri sweater, that I've been wearing in the Drops Kid Silk, and that just feels great. But I mean, when I try this on, I do agree that it is quite scratchy. This is quite a bit longer. But yeah, when you put it like next to your neck, you can feel the, I mean, I don't mind scratch. I don't know about her. She also hasn't been wearing this since she got it. This is a beige color. I don't know if it comes through. Next one is also a scrunchie. And this is a bit thicker than the other one, because here I have a, it's a Sandnes, what is this, Lanette, no, baby wool Lanette is what it's called. It's such a long name, that I've held together with the Drops alpaca. So it does, the colors are a bit shifting. I mean, sorry about my nails. I should have removed the nail polish. Yeah, not much to say about it. Hasn't been worn yet. The next one I don't have. I do have a picture that I will insert. This is also the luxury mohair scrunchie, as is the next one. I made it in white as well. And both the purple and the white I knit for my oldest daughter. Now hair is coming out. Yeah, so not much. I'll put the picture. And then the next one is a pair of fingerless mitts that I made for my boyfriend. And these are knit in Drops Nepal. And I didn't have enough of it, so I had to use a different color here. But apparently he doesn't mind. This is not a pattern, I just knit it from the top of my head. I think it's 40 stitches, and then it's a 3-1 rib. They were very simple. I'm sorry, I have a bit of a cold. They were very simple to make. The most difficult thing is to get them equally long. I should have counted the rounds, but I didn't. So the next one is a Christmas stocking. And this is the Silent Knits Christmas stockings. And the designer is Annah Burns. And this doesn't look like the sample made, because she also provides all these charts of different things. So I just picked different charts, and you also write the name here. So Freya. I did make a mistake, because this is an afterthought heel. So you just knit the whole thing, and then you cut here and put the heel in. And I didn't check where I did that. So her name is now on the back of the foot instead of the front where it should have been. But yeah, this has been used, and I put presents in it. And yeah, this was very much appreciated. But now it's gonna I'm gonna put it away for next Christmas. Then I also made a pair of blue fingerless mitts that I don't have here because I gave them to my father. Same thing, I just knitted from the top of my head, and they are in 2-2 rib instead of 3-1. I don't know if he's been wearing them because I haven't seen him since Christmas, I think. No. I also made a hat for him in the same 2-2 rib, and this pattern is called 2x2. And this was a very quick knit, and the hat looks really nice. Don't know if he's been wearing that either, but I mean, he is very knit-worthy. He usually wears the things I knit for him. And that was... No, I also made 2 pairs of snowshoe socks. The last ones I finished in December, and this was for my brother's girlfriend, because she wanted a pair of thick socks to wear outside, because she is a scout leader and she spends a lot of time outdoors. So I made a pair of snowshoe socks for her, and these ones, I mean, I'm gonna put a picture because she sent me a picture of her wearing one of each pair that I made her. And this is not a very good picture, but at least you will get an idea. So this pair is the ones with a Christmas sock yarn. And with these socks, you hold 2 strands of fingering weight yarn together to get a thicker sock. And I have used, one of them is, I think it's a Filcolana Arwetta, the gray one. Yes, it is. And the Christmas sock yarn is, what is it? This is a British, this is a British yarn. It has a long name. Well, I'm gonna remember it soon. But yeah, very quick knit. I love this pattern. I think I've made 6 pairs of this sock. A few pairs for myself, 2 pairs for her, and 1 pair for one of my daughters. And now into November. So now all the December knits are done. And I mean, you might have seen the November knits as well, but they're not as many. The next one is a test knit from Sari Nordlund. It's her Haven shawl, and I really love this shawl. It has a super pretty pattern that is also really quick and easy to knit. I mean, there are hairs attached to this now. I don't know if you can see. I mean, I really enjoyed knitting this. And this is knit in the Clara by Permin yarn that I also used for the beret. So this is the beginning of a set. I do have 2 balls left, so I'm hoping to make mittens to match this as well. I mean, I can't show you all of it in the frame, but this is what it looks like. I could put it on. I mean, it is slightly smaller than I would like to, because it's not, I mean, you can tie it, but it's a bit, but otherwise I really like it. And it's not super warm because there is cotton in it as well. And the next one is the second pair of fingerless mitts that I knit for my boyfriend. And these are knit in Drops Alaska. And for these kinds of mitts, this is an Aran weight yarn, as is the Nepal. And for these I have, I've used like a ball and a half. These are 50-gram balls, so 1.5 ball is enough to make a pair. I don't think he's been wearing these a lot. But he did start wearing the hat that I've knit for him, so, I mean, you have to take the small wins. He's not as knit-worthy as my father, I can tell you that. I knit him 2 sweaters. The first one is a Galdhöpiggen, which is one of my favorite sweater patterns. And I knit it in Let Lopi, which is, I mean, it is super scratchy. And it's also very warm. So, I mean, he has good reason not to have worn that. And then he was like, oh, it is a bit scratchy. I mean, this thing you're knitting on here, that's very soft. So hint, hint. So then I knit him another sweater. It was a Sandnes pattern, I don't remember the name, in merino wool, which has no scratch at all. I mean, the arms did come out a bit long because I tried it on me and I'm like super tall. I mean, we're almost the same height, but yeah, they were a bit long. I also like when sleeves end here. So he hasn't been wearing that either. So no more sweaters for you, sir. Okay. Next one is the second Christmas stocking, and this is the same pattern, the Silent Knits Christmas stocking. And I used other charts for this one. And this is for my youngest. And here I did it right with the name on front. So this is Vigrid. And she was also super happy with this. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the yarns that I used. It's mostly Drops Nepal, bits and bobs that I had lying around. This is a green one, a gray one, and then the white one. The red yarn is a yarn that I knit a Christmas sweater for myself a few years back. It's the Julgran by Satterlund. This sweater is way too small for me now, so it's been put away somewhere. I don't know what the yarn is called. I did check my Ravelry page and I haven't noted it there, so this red yarn is a mystery. It is 100% wool yarn though. That's all I know. Okay, into October. It's already been 16 minutes. You're gonna be here for a long time. Okay, in October I finished another Sophie scarf, this one for myself. This is knit in Filcolana Pernilla, and it used 2 50-gram skeins. And this is 175 meters on a 50-gram ball. And this is, I think it's longer than even the beige one. I think this could go twice around my neck, yes. That doesn't look super nice, but yeah. And with this, I haven't been wearing this a lot. I mean, I think yellow, I like this lemony yellow, but I'm still a bit apprehensive about wearing yellow. And with this, I also made an Oslo hat. This looks a bit lighter than it actually is. It is a bit lighter than the scarf, but I mean, this is more like it, I think, yeah. And with this, I used the Järbo Junior Raggi, which is a fingering weight sock yarn, and held it with their kid silk mohair. What is it called? Järbo Fin Silk, I think? Something like that. And this also required 2 balls of each, a little less of the mohair. This hat is very small. My legs are falling asleep. I have knit another one in pink that also came out very small, so I don't really know why I can't learn from my mistakes, but there you go. But I mean, I have been wearing the pink one so much. It's like a dusty pink. Maybe, if I have a picture, I will put it. But both of these are Petiteknit patterns, if someone had missed that. And I mean, I haven't been wearing it much because it's so tight, but I do believe that with wear, it is going to, light. It is going to fit eventually, because that's what happened with the other one. I'm gonna need to take this off now. And in October, I also finished Cowloween, a Halloween cowl. And I mean, this is so cute. I can put it on, so. Okay, shouldn't have done that. Probably should move that back a little bit so you can see it better. Yeah, and this was also so much fun to knit. So, I mean, I knit 2 of them and I still wasn't bored because something is happening the whole time. I mean, when you don't have the pattern, you have the stripes. And I should probably show the pattern up close. The little pumpkins and ghosts. And I do have, and this is also the Drops Fable sock yarn. And I do have quite a lot left. So I'm thinking to make Halloween socks for next year for the kids. So these are, I knit 1 each for the kids to wear for Halloween. I mean, the thing with Halloween is we never used to celebrate that as kids. But now in the internet age, all the kids are celebrating it now. So we usually have a yearly Halloween party for the kids and their friends. And it's actually a lot of fun. I mean, this year I really enjoyed. When they were younger, it was more work, but this year was very enjoyable for me as well. So, little footnote. The next one is the first Sophie scarf that I knit. And I also made this one for myself. And this is knit in onion wool and nettles, number 4. So this is merino wool and nettles. And I really like the color of this one. And I have been wearing it a lot. Especially during autumn when it wasn't so cold. This is also, I think this also goes twice around my neck. I mean, yes. I've been wearing it a lot with my tweed jacket, and I mean, it's super nice. The only thing with this is that the yarn stretches a bit, so you get these, I mean, it's not so springy. You get these welts here, like this, and it does stretch out a bit, and it doesn't bounce back. I guess that's the nettles. Or maybe, I mean, I don't think this is superwash, so that shouldn't be the reason. In September, I finished a pair of mittens that had been lying around for years. And the reason I hadn't finished them was because I had run out of yarn. I don't know what yarn this is. This is feels like a pure wool yarn, and they are really warm. But I just picked a different, I mean, maybe you can see it here, that the yarn is different, but not very noticeable actually. And I've held the yarn double, and I knit it on quite small needles. So these are pretty dense, which means they're warm and super nice. And these are the arched gusset mittens from Purl Soho. And this is a free pattern. And I mean, I really love these mittens. I want to make more. I did make a pair of fingerless mitts for my father using this pattern. So I highly recommend. After that, I finished the first pair of snowshoe socks for my brother's girlfriend. And I will put the same picture. This is the pink pair. So I held the same grey Arwetta yarn together with bits and bobs of leftover sock yarn. Like there's some Regia yarn, there's some Järbo yarn. There is like a self-striping yarn that I don't even remember what brand it is, but all kinds of small things. The next one is the second Cowloween. And I mean, it's exactly the same as the first one. Such a fun pattern. And then we're in August, and this is sock knitting month, or it was this year at least. But the first pattern that I finished is Andrea Maury's Harlow hat, which is knit in brioche, and I have made a mistake here. You can see this, but I mean, if you turn the brim up, then it hides it. And this is knit in hedgehog fibers. And I did buy a club. It was a fade club. And I mean, this is super expensive yarn. So this was a few years back. But I had been wanting to do this for a long time. So I knit a cardigan with a fade yarn. It's a pattern from the Hedgehog Fibers website, and those patterns are all free. And I can put a picture. But this is the leftover yarn from this, and this you can just turn inside. So this is the yellow side. I used two, a yellow and a purple. So this is 2 color brioche. So you can just turn it, because I was really careful when I wove in the ends, so that you can use it on both sides. I haven't used it a lot because of this stripe going through here, and that is very noticeable. And also because when I turn it up so you can't see it, it's a little bit too small. And this yellow is very intense. So when I wore it on the purple side. And then in August I also finished my first pair of shorts. And this is Helga Isager's tan shorts. And I have knit these in Sandnes Tynn Line, which, I mean, I have raved about this yarn before, but it's really lovely. It is a blend of linen, cotton. I think there's some viscose in it as well. Or if they call it bamboo. I mean, that's not sure. But I mean, I really love these. These are you knit one leg at a time, and then you sew the pieces together, like here. So there is some sewing involved in this. But I think, and I mean, I have always been really bad at sewing, but I mean, I think it looks all right. And these I made for my oldest daughter. I am working on a pair for my younger one, but since it's winter now, there's no rush to finish them. I mean, I really like this little slit on the leg. Yeah, this was a fun, but you have to pay attention because there's a lot going on at the same time. And when you make decreases, they're not the same on the outside of the leg as they are on the inside. So I made a few mistakes, so to speak. In August, I also finished the Deco City shawl. And this is from Pom Pom Quarterly magazine. And I can put the number on the screen because I don't remember it now. This yarn is a merino wool. It is a hand-colored one. This was, I mean, I don't remember the name of the brand, but I had a wonderful little yarn store here in Malmö that I frequently went to. The owner there was super nice, and she also had knitting cafes in the evenings. Unfortunately, she closed down. I mean, it's many years ago now. And this has been a UFO for a really long time, so I was happy to finish it. I mean, this is a bit too small for my liking. I mean, I can barely tie it. But I think the pattern is pretty. I did make a mistake because there is 2 pattern parts. There's pattern A and pattern B. And then you switch between them. And I did it the wrong way. So it doesn't look exactly like the designer sample, or the way it should. This has been crumpled up among my other shawls, so that's why it's a bit... But yeah, I mean, I'm really happy to have finished it. I actually have a pair of mittens and a hat to go with this shawl, so it is a complete set, which I'm really happy about. Next one is the 3rd pair of snowshoe socks that I'm talking about. And I did forget to tell you that it is designed by Emily Foden. And it comes from her excellent book Knits About Winter. This was actually an attempt to knit a pair for my brother's girlfriend, but as you can see, this sock is rather small. And this is all kinds of sock yarns that I had left over. I don't even know what they are because it was just bits and bobs. But my daughter had been wearing them because the house is really cold. So she's gotten a lot of use out of them. Sometimes she even wears them to bed. Yeah. July is also a month when I knit a lot of socks. I mean, I said I knit a lot of socks in August and I only showed you one pair, so I guess July was sock knitting month. The first pair that I finished, oh, these are so dirty. I wore them yesterday. These are the Farmer McGregor socks by Alice Yu, and they come from her excellent book Socktopus. And these had been lying around for a really, I mean, so much hair, for a really long time. Because I had knit one sock, completely finished, and then I knit this much on the leg. And I think I have made some kind of mistake because I just put them away. And then years later I picked them up and I couldn't find the place. I went through the whole chart, every row, and I couldn't find where I was. So I ripped them back a bit and then I knit the rest of it. And this pattern is quite fiddly. And if you make a mistake, it's gonna show. So, but I'm super happy that I finished. I mean, I love the details here. If you look, like, how the pattern just goes into the heel so seamlessly. And then I knit my first pair of shorty socks in July. And because I have not been a fan of short socks, I mean, I haven't really, I mean, I've never knit them because I'm thinking wool on your feet in the summer, is that a good idea? And then also, you can't wear them in winter because then you're gonna freeze. I mean, I know people do that, but I couldn't. But then, I knit the weekend shorty sock, and I mean, this is white yarn, so everything is gonna show. But I found that I really loved these, and on a day when it's not super hot, it's actually not as bad as you would think. This white yarn, I think it's the Drops Fable yarn. And then it's little pieces of, this is Järbo Junior Raggi. This is I think it's a Moods of Colors. Could be Fru Valborg as well. Merino sock yarn. This is the Lorna's Laces Shepherd sock. And this is this British yarn that I can't remember what it's called. Yeah. I will put it on the screen. This one is Mandusana. It's a little bit thicker sock yarn. I don't remember what it's called, but she's like a small indie dyer, Swedish. And then this yellow is a Regia yarn. The next one is a Sari Nordlund pattern. And this is her Sunset camisole. This is knit in 100% linen. I mean, I really like linen yarn. I don't like cotton yarn, like 100% cotton, but I really like 100% linen because it's just so... I mean, it is hard on your hands, but I don't mind so much. I mean, unless you knit several garments in a row, it's fine. And this has a cute little ruffle here. And this pattern also has a very thorough tutorial on YouTube where she goes through all the parts. And I like the folded hemline of this. This yarn is Can't remember right now, but I will let you know down below. I haven't worn it a lot because I like things with sleeves. I have worn it a bit when it's been very hot. I do like the color, it's a really nice color. But I mean, I will be wearing it more next summer, I'm sure. Then I also made her a couture top. I don't have it here. I thought it was tucked away in the attic, but I went there before filming and I couldn't find it, so not sure where this is at, but I do have a picture, so I will. This is also knit in, no, it's not also knit, this is knit in cotton, and it is a Sandnes yarn. Yeah, I mean, my memory is not great right now, but yeah. It's something petite, Sandnes, petite. Yeah, it's the thinner cotton yarn that they have. I really like the pattern on this. Same problem as the Sunset camisole, that it doesn't have sleeves. But I mean, I do like the color. I mean, the pattern is super pretty, and I will try not to be so self-conscious. The next one is Caitlin Hunter's Tanja. And this is knit in Frival Boy Merino Twist, I think. I bought 2 skeins. This is also a small Swedish indie dyer, but she actually stopped dyeing yarn, so I mean, you can't find this yarn anywhere. But I bought it on a sale and I bought 2 skeins, so I had to knit it in a smaller size than I normally would. I mean, the Tanja is quite oversized anyway, but this is quite tight, I have to say. I mean, it has a lovely pattern down here. And the yarn is really cute as well. I have knit a Tanja before in a green yarn, but this is really warm, so it's probably more suited for wearing under something else in the winter than for summer wear. I haven't worn it a lot because it is a bit tight, to be fair. My second pair of shorty socks is the summer sneaker socks. And these are really cute with this little ruffle on the back, and then it's a rib pattern on the top of the foot, and there is a picot edge at the top, like so. They look so long when you don't have a leg, but I've also been wearing these quite a lot. Super cute. The last thing that I knit, no, I'm going backwards. So the first thing that I knit in July is the Summer Secret Crop by Jessie Maed Designs. And this is knit in a Debbie Bliss cotton yarn that I had lying around from years ago. And this is 100% cotton. It's quite thick, it's like a worsted or Aran weight. And I mean, I didn't knit this for myself, even though rib is stretchy, I could not fit into this. This I made for my youngest daughter. And the Summer Secret Crop is just stockinette, but I decided to make it in a 3-1 rib because I like the look. And I also made these stripes here because I didn't have enough of the main yarn to make a haul. I mean, she has been wearing this when it was summer. So I even had to do 2 yarns here. But I mean, she really liked it, so I'm happy. I was gonna make one for her older sister as well, but I haven't gotten to that yet. I do have the yarn, so for next summer. In June, I finished the Oak Haven by Kerry Bloomer. And this is currently too small for me to wear, but too big for the girls. I'm hoping to fit into it by summer. It is knit in a merino wool, so it is a little bit on the warm side, but with this pattern, you also don't want to wear it in winter. It has a little one on the back too. It's really cute. This is the Madeline Tosh Merino Light. And initially I had knit a cardigan with this, but it didn't turn out well, so I ripped it out and made this. And I do have some yarn left, but I'm probably going to make a hat from that. This had also been lying around for a while, so I'm glad I finished it. Then I had another project that was super old that I finished. And these are the seed stitch socks, something like that. So you use 2 different kinds of yarn to make this pattern. And I had knit 1 sock, and then I had lost this like purplish, reddish purple yarn, so I couldn't finish the second one. But when I went through my stash, I found it. And I mean, these have also been worn. During winter, I only wear hand knit socks, so whatever I'm going to show you is going to be like hairy and dirty. It's time to take them all and wash them. But yeah, these are a little bit big, but that's fine, because then you could just put a pair of ordinary store-bought socks underneath. Then I also finished a Summer League cutoff. So this is a t-shirt, and I knit it in a Mirasol cotton yarn. It's also 100% cotton, quite thick, like a worsted Aran. I mean, I think it's hard to, but yeah. It's hot pink. I don't have a picture of it, but I will put the designer's picture so that you get an idea. The thing with this is that it came out really big. I haven't been wearing it much because of this. I also haven't ripped it out because I didn't feel like re-knitting the whole thing. And I think the color is a bit intense on me anyway. But this yarn had been lying around for a really long time, so I wanted to knit something with it. And the amount of yarn I had fit really well with this pattern. And I also think the pattern is really pretty, so it just came out too big. And also with cotton, it's just gonna stretch even more when you wash it. So yeah, a bit of a flop. Then in May, I finished a pair of Osato socks. And I knit these from a sock set that I bought from Stranded Dye Works. Really love this yarn, so pretty. And the pattern is a Rachel Coopy pattern. She is also like a great designer, and I have knit quite a few socks from her. This one comes from her collaboration with Pom Pom, and it's called Ready Set Socks. Or I mean, Pom Pom printed it, but she made all the patterns. Ready Set Socks, yes, I love this book. It's really nice. In it she has, I think it's 10 different patterns, but they all come in a fingering weight version and a DK weight version, which is really nice. So if you want to make a pair of quick socks, then you can do the DK version. I don't have them here, but I do have a picture. The next one is something that I have really loved and worn a lot. And this is the Ginny cardigan from Andrea Mowry. And this is really big, so it's going to be hard to show you. I decided to knit this in a striped pattern. This is one colored, the way she made it. But I had these two yarn. I mean, I had I was gonna participate in the Stephen West MCAL of 2023, and when I bought the yarns, I accidentally bought the DK weight version of the yarn when I actually wanted the fingering weight version. But when I reordered the fingering weight, I bought a couple of more skeins so that I could make a whole garment with it. I mean, you can't really see it, so I will put a picture. There are belt loops here as well, and I did knit a belt, but I took a trip with some of my knitting friends, and I brought the belt because it was so boring. It's a double knit, so it takes forever to knit the belt. And when I was in the car, just riding along, and I was like, now I can finish the belt. And I knit like crazy. So now the belt is way too long. So I'm not wearing it with a belt because then it just drags along the floor after me. But yeah, I think I'm gonna fix the belt. Just rip it out and fix it so I can wear it with the cardigan. But I mean, this cardigan has gotten so much wear. And this is the Adlibris Socky yarn. So it's a wool nylon yarn. So you can make, I mean, it is essentially a sock yarn, but works really well with a cardigan. I mean, it's not very pilly either. I mean, you get a bit of pilling under the arm, but I mean, it has held up quite nicely. This is like a really cheap yarn, so I didn't expect it to be this good. And then I knit a pair of socks called 100 Acre Wood. And now I remember what the yarn was called. It is West Yorkshire Spinners. This yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners. And which was the other one? Now I've forgotten. Probably this one as well. Yeah, I think so. And this is the yarn I used. No, this is not the West Yorkshire Spinners. This is the Järbo. It is a Järbo sock yarn. Which one? Now I'm in trouble again. I think it's the Järbo bamboo something. So this is a blend of wool and bamboo yarn. I mean, I will find out. But this yarn, I initially made a pair of 100 Acre Wood by Alice Yu from her Socktopus book. Because what I was doing, I had this challenge to knit all the socks from Socktopus. And I pulled a pattern at random for each. I had 2 weeks to knit a pair of socks, which was not enough. And I had the misfortune to pull the toe-up socks twice. And I really don't like to knit toe-up socks. And what happened was that they also came out way too small. So I had to rip them out. I do have a picture. But so I reused the yarn for the summer sneaker socks. The next pattern was the last pattern I finished in April. And this was also part of the sock knitting challenge. So this is the Om Shanti from the same book. And the same thing happened with these. These were also toe-up socks. These were also... these also came out way too small. They have also been ripped out. And they were knit in this West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. The next one is my first test knit, actually. And this is Glimmernit's pattern, Lilja. And this is a really pretty sweater. This I also knit for my oldest daughter, because when I saw that she was looking for test knitters, there was only the smallest size and some of the bigger the biggest sizes left, and I'm somewhere in the middle, so my size was not available. So I knitted for my oldest daughter, and this is a really lovely yarn. This is the Dererum Natura Gilead, I think, which is a merino yarn. And this is a non-superwash. So, I mean, and the thing is, I don't know if you can see, but this is a gray yarn that has been colored. This beautiful mint color. So it's so pretty. And she has been wearing this quite a lot. It is a little bit pilly, but it's not too bad. Look at this pretty pattern. The neckline came out a little bit big. I was thinking to go back and fix it, but I haven't yet. And she's still been wearing it, so maybe someday. The first pattern I finished in May, no, I'm lying, in April, is the Oxa by Caitlin Hunter. And this is knit in Nutiden, which is an unspun yarn. And it has been quite hyped. It is a Swedish yarn, and the thing is that when you want to buy this yarn, you have to be there the moment they release it. And this color is called Spörja. I really like this color. And it means like ask, I think. It's like an old word. We don't really use it anymore. I mean, I really like the pattern of this yarn. The thing is, I bought this yarn and I was like, wow, this is such a beautiful yarn. What am I going to do with this? And then I saw this pattern and I just thought it was perfect. You hold 2 strands together. And this yarn is pretty frail, so it breaks really easily. But the thing is, you can just like put it together and then it just sticks again. So it's not really a problem. And this has some short rows in the neck, you can see here, the back neck. And I have not been wearing this a lot, partly because it's really warm, and partly because, I mean, it's so precious. Yeah, it is quite cropped, but that's the way I like it. I also made a pair of GM socks from the Ready Set Socks, Rachel Coopy's book. The thing with these socks is that they disappeared. I have no idea where they are, and I also don't have a picture, so I'm sorry about that. But I knit them in a Järbo, not the thickest raggi, but the medium-sized. Don't remember what it's called. But it's like a really nice spring green. I really like the socks. I hope I can find them someday so I can wear them again. And then we're in March, and these were the first of the sock challenge socks. These are a pair of cuff-down socks from Alice Yu's book Socktopus, and they're called Caretta Caretta. And I think that's a kind of turtle. Turtle is the one who lives in the ocean, right? Yeah, I think so. It's a really pretty pattern. The yarn is Sandnes Sisu, which is a sock yarn. And I have been wearing these quite a lot. And I have been wearing them recently as well, as you can tell. And the same thing here, like the transitions are just so beautiful. From the ribbing here into the heel and the toe. I really like how the toes are not just stockinette, but it's just so neat. Yeah, I really like these. Next one is one I don't really like. This is a Ramona, a Ramona cardigan. I mean, I do love the Ramona cardigan pattern. I do have a grey one that I have been wearing a lot, but this one just didn't. I mean, it had been lying around for a long time. It's just a teensy bit too big, a teensy bit too long, because it's, I mean, either you want it cropped or you want it to be a little bit longer, but this is like in between, and I don't like that. And then this is made from Drops Alaska, which is also not a favorite yarn of mine. And I didn't have enough, so I had to finish it off with the Adlibris Socky Plus here. And I also don't like that because it looks sloppy. Yeah, this I've mostly been wearing like if you're out walking in the woods or working in the garden or things like that. So I don't know, it's And then we're in February. And in February, I finished a really old project. I think I started this, I don't remember if it was 6 or 8 years ago. And this pattern is called Siri by Linnea Öhman. And this was like this came down as a bomb in the Swedish knitting community. Everyone was knitting this pattern. And look at this. And then you'll understand why. It's so pretty. And this is made from a yarn called Magazine Duet Super Soft. And that name is a bit, confusing because this yarn is everything but super soft. It's quite scratchy. And I've held 2 strands together. But the thing with this is that when you wear it and you wash it, it does get softer. But I was so happy that the reason I hadn't finished this, I should tell you that, was that, you were supposed to, the arms were supposed to start in this pattern. And I had missed that and knit the whole yoke pattern before I divided for arms. But when I tried it on, because when I figured that out, I just threw it away. But when I tried this on, I was like, well, this still works. I don't have to rip back. Because this was a very fiddly thing to do. Because you knit like a twisted stitch on the wrong side. So like you twist your pearls as well. And that's not a fun thing to do. But yeah, I didn't have to. So I just finished, everything I did was in stockinette. So once I started knitting, it was really quick. I can see that I haven't spaced the buttons really correctly. But yeah, I usually wear it open anyway. I really like the color as well. And then for the January patterns, there are 2 of them. And I don't have any of them here. The first one is a shawl called Love and Darkness by Sylvia McFadden. This was also a project that had been lying around for years and years. Because this is a lace shawl, and I will show the picture. I had made a mistake somewhere. And when that happens, I just toss the project aside and don't touch it for a while. But when I came back to it, it was quite a few years later, and it wasn't difficult at all to find out what the mistake was and fix it. This is also made from Adlibris Socky Plus, and I really love the color, and the lace pattern is super pretty too. And I like these chunky lace shawls. They look, I like them better than the lacy lace shawls because it's like a chunky bit of knitting. And they're also like, once you're into it, they're really quick to knit. And the first thing I knit in 2023 was the classic, now I've been talking for a long time, I really need to stop. Was the classic ribbed hat from Purl Soho. And this is knit in Sandnes alpaca. And I made it for my daughter because she wanted a hat made in a neutral color and in a neutral pattern. And this is a 1-1 rib. And she has been wearing this hat a lot. So I'm very happy. And that was everything I had for today. And in the next one, I will reveal a project that I have been thinking about for a long time, but that I'm finally going to start on in February. So I will see you in the next one, and have a nice day. Bye.